What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Afzal Hussain. You can find out a bit more about me through the social media links below, or you can check out my website, which is www.afzalhussain.com. If you're not already, do follow me on LinkedIn. You can find me, just search Afzal Hussain. And also do consider following me on Instagram if you would like to have an influence on the videos that I put out. So every week I do a poll with my Instagram followers and ask them, should I put out this video or this video? Whichever video gets the most votes, that video gets published the following Wednesday. So if you want to have an influence in the decision making process for what content comes out on this channel, do follow me on Instagram. Conscious, it's 23rd of December. It's the eve of Christmas Eve actually, and I'm conscious that, you know, it's assessment center season, it's interview season. A lot of graduates and students are in the process of securing insight weeks, internships, grad schemes, and in January there's going to be a lot of interviewing going on, a lot of assessment centers, and so I'm trying to put out as much content as I can more frequently for the benefit of those of you going through the interviews, assessment centers and all of that. Today's video is going to focus on a question that I get asked quite a bit. So every single student who isn't at a top tier university always asks me, Afzal, I'm not at a top elite university, will I be able to get a job in investment banking? Afzal, I don't go to a top institution, you know, is it okay for me to apply to investment banks? Will I get offers? Will I get interviews? Will they even consider me? Is it worth spending a few hours doing an application for a top investment bank or even a professional services firm, consulting firm, whatever it might be? Is it worth it given I'm not at a prestigious university like Harvard, like UCLA, Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, all these top institutions? So what I want to say to these students and to all of you, if you're not at a top tier university, first and foremost, it's not the end of the world. It is possible to get into the world of investment banking without going to a top tier university. Now, what I want to do in this video is demystify the myths and give you 10 reasons why it is more than likely and more than possible for you to get into a top investment bank even if you don't go to a top tier university. So let's get straight into it. First and foremost, organizations, investment banks, consulting firms, professional service firms are diversifying, and they understand the benefits of getting applicants from different universities. So organizations are diversifying in their recruitment efforts, and that means they're looking at students from all sorts of universities, because it doesn't make sense to only hire people from the top universities. Yes, it means, you know, they're really bright, they're good in academia, but the world of work is completely different. And so having an interview with a student who isn't at a top tier university, they might perform well in an interview. They might actually work better in a team compared to other individuals. And so it's important to note that organizations are looking to diversify their recruiting efforts, and so they're considering and partnering up with universities that aren't always top tier. Some are middle tier, some are lower tier. They want diversity in their recruitment efforts. So top tip number one, or reason number one why your university doesn't matter so much, is because firms are trying to diversify throughout their recruiting efforts. Okay, now that brings me to reason number two, and this kind of requires you to step out of your shoes and look at the world from a macro level, have perspective. There are thousands of organizations with thousands of employees, and so they have thousands of positions to fill with students and graduates, and so there's so much headcount that they can't just select from the top universities. For example, JP Morgan employs 250,000 individuals. Goldman Sachs has 37,000 employees. Citigroup has 209 or 214,000 employees. Bank of America Merrill Lynch has 209,000 employees. Morgan Stanley has 57,000 employees. Barclays Capital has 80,000 employees. You know, the list just goes on and on. That is a large number of people. Whoever's watching this video has taken the initiative to kind of do some research or seen the link and spent a few minutes watching this. And so if you don't believe you can get a role out of 250,000 people that JP Morgan employ across the various divisions, across different seniorities, you should step back and ask yourself, why is that? Why can't you get a position out of 250,000 people? A lot of it comes down to your interests, your passions, finding the right area of the bank that suits you. But my point is, There's so many spaces that these companies need to fill for graduate recruitment and internships that they can't be selective and just choose the top tier universities. Yes, some of the top tier university students might fill in the most in-demand positions, but there's so many other roles, and I'm going to touch on this in a bit, that some of the mid-tier, lower tier, and even top tier university students slot into and fit into. So yeah, always remember, all these companies like JP Morgan, 250,000 employees, there's a lot of roles there for students, and they aren't going to be filled in only by top tier universities. Okay, reason number 3 on why it doesn't really matter if you go to a top tier university or not. Every single investment bank has different divisions, right? So it's got the front office divisions, the areas where you get paid more, the hours are longer, work-life balance might not be perfect. And then you've got the middle office and the back office divisions where pay is slightly lower, bonuses are smaller, but work-life balance is better. The work is not as client-focused or client-facing. There's pros and cons to each, and I've actually done a video on which I'll link somewhere up down below, you'll see it. Now, what that means, there's various divisions, and so the truth is, most front office roles do go to candidates from top tier universities. I'm not going to lie, a lot of the top tier university candidates go to the front office roles. However, that doesn't mean candidates from mid tier or lower tier universities don't get these opportunities. But if we're speaking about getting into investment banking, there are lots of different areas within investment banks, and so all of these areas are recruiting. You need to find the one that works well for you. You need to be strategic and see which area, if you're struggling to get front office roles, maybe be more tactical and focus on back office roles. Your university comes into play somewhat, but you need to be strategic with your approach. So if you're ever thinking, I'm struggling to get into a front office role, then go for middle office or back office opportunities, whether it's internships or grad schemes. Be tactical, because yes, some organizations in their front office, they prefer top tier universities because they're more comfortable with that, but it doesn't mean you can't apply to back or middle office roles just to get your foot in, because there are so many different divisions, and that's something that you should always be wary of. There's so many opportunities, you just need to be strategic with your time. Okay, reason number 4 is something I'm a true believer in and I'm really passionate about, and that is experience is the currency. Experience over grades. Regardless of whether you go to the worst uni in the world, if you've got a CV that shows you've got relevant experience, you've proactively gone and sought experience, you've got lots of insight weeks, or you've got previous finance work experience, or you've volunteered for different companies, and if you've got experience that shows you are genuinely interested in a career in finance, corporate finance, business, consulting, whatever it might be, that will make you stand out on your CV stronger than a candidate who has no experience and top grades. So prioritize work experience. Work experience, relevant work experience anyways, is much better to have than top grades. A lot of companies will tell you this. They would rather hire someone or interview someone who has lots of experience and an average grade, a 60 to 70% or a 2-1 in the UK, as opposed to a candidate who has a first class degree but 0 experience. Now, small caveat, if you're applying to an extremely niche role, whether it's quantitative trading, algorithmic trading on the trading floor, whatever it is, then it might be better to have top grades in a very highly quantitative subject like, I don't know, a PhD in maths or statistics, or a master's and an undergrad in maths or statistics, because those roles are very niche, and so the recruiters and the companies want an individual who has technical knowledge in that area. But for the most part, experience is greater and better than grades. Prioritize experience throughout your university time over grades. Obviously try and get the best grades possible, but if you go to an average or lower tier university and you focus on building your experience, that will only benefit you rather than having an empty CV with strong grades. Okay, reason number 5 of why going to a mid or lower tier university will not prevent you from getting into investment banking. Networking. Networking is super important. Why? Because networking can open so many doors. Whenever you go to insight events, networking events, and meet lots of individuals from, whether it's Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, PwC, Deloitte, whichever organization it is, oftentimes HR tell the employees, keep an eye out for any students that stand out. And at the end of the event, they ask the employees, was there a student that stood out? What's their name? So then If you stand out, they'll give your name to the HR person, and then the HR person will keep an eye out for your application. When you apply, you're likely to get fast-tracked into the interview. So networking is a very, very good way to get your foot into the door of an interview or an assessment center. How do you network? That brings me on to reason number 6. Attend insight events, attend networking events. I've mentioned these before. A lot of companies host insight events, evenings where there's canapes and drinks and presentations, and they give you a chance to meet employees at the company. Once you do that, get their business cards, talk to them, build some rapport, drop them an email later on, just build a relationship. If it works, the best case scenario is they refer you to HR. Worst case is, you learnt from your experience, you met someone, you networked a bit. If you haven't seen my networking video, it will either be posted and linked below, or I'll be uploading it in the next few days. So reason number 5 and 6, networking and going to insight events. Now, one very, very important hack or trick or tip I would give you is you're more likely to build rapport with someone or connect with someone or have someone help you if they are an alumni of your university. So if you go to a networking event and you find someone, or you do your LinkedIn search and find someone that previously studied at your university, even better, your course, then make sure you connect with them, because they're naturally going to feel more inclined to help someone who is at their university that they studied at, because they kind of share the same story, and so naturally that person would want to help you. So make sure you try and keep an eye out for individuals from your institution who have gone on to various companies, because it's easier to network with them and they're more likely to help you and refer you to an interview or an assessment center. Okay, reason number 7, find your passion. I know that sounds, so everyone says it, find your passion, but I'll go into a bit more detail, and have genuine interest. So find your passion and have genuine interest. Reason why I say that is, if you want to genuinely get into a investment bank, you can't just blag your way through. If you go to an interview and you put on an act, people will see straight through it. Especially when you're working in the industry, you can tell if a student is actually keen on finance, keen on this industry, or genuinely curious, or if they're just in it to get paid a high salary, they want the lifestyle and all of that. It's easy to tell from the other side. So make sure you find what you're interested in. How do you do this? You read up. So any questions you have, if I'm not answering it on my channel on YouTube, Google it. Put it into Google and see what comes up. Read, read, read. Google was literally the way I learned most of everything I know. And then, so Google, reading the right books, meeting the right people. And within finance, within the different companies, there's different areas that you can kind of slot into, or your skill sets will match into these areas. Find out a bit more, network with people, learn what area suits you, and if you can express those interests and your story accordingly, more people will buy into your story. So be passionate, find something you're enthusiastic and genuinely interested in, and that will help you get into investment banking or any industry regardless of what university you go to. Reason number 8, you've got 3 chances. First year university students, you can apply to Insight Weeks, or second year university students of a 4-year course in the UK or in EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa. Insight Weeks are for first year students of a 3-year degree or second year students of a 4-year degree. So that's your first chance. If you can't secure anything then, but try your best to, because that's the easiest way, because you can convert that into a summer internship, your second chance. So your first chance is Insight Weeks, second chance is summer internships. And if you can't secure that, then your third and final chance, well, not final, your third chance is a grad scheme, applying to the grad scheme. So you've got 3 chances to kind of learn and apply to different companies and try and secure a position in the world of banking. Regardless of what uni you go to, everyone's got those 3 chances. But if you want to be strategic and tactical, you might do some applications in the front office and some in the middle and back office. That way you're kind of spreading your eggs into different baskets, diversification, covering your backside and giving yourself a safety net or a cushion, which is super important. Which brings me on to reason number 9. If you can't get front office, understand that front office is, so when I was applying, I think the stat was for every applicant, or so I was in front office at Goldman Sachs, in Goldman Sachs Asset Management, and for every successful applicant, there were 3,000 applications. So some of them might be bots, some of them might be repeat applications, but that's a large number of applications per position given. And so you need to understand the demand for front office is higher than the demand for back office. So be strategic, as I said before. If you know you're not getting any success with front office applications, apply to some of the banks in their back office opportunities, whether it's internships or insight weeks or grad schemes. Because what you want to do, most importantly, you just want to get your foot in the door, because there's so much turnover, there's so many opportunities to move into the front office later. You just want to get your foot in the door. You want to graduate with some experience on your CV, because if you graduate and you don't have any experience, it's quite tricky to land these opportunities. So any opportunity you can, just get your foot in the door. Front office, back office, middle office, just get your foot in and diversify your applications. Which brings me on to my final reason for why you can get into investment banking regardless of if you go to a top tier university or not, is if you get into back office, you've got time. Your career is long. You've got the first 10 years of your career after you graduate to find your feet. You can move into the front office later on. So and it's very common, a lot of people go into the back office because they couldn't get a front office role. Or they go into back office because they're interested and they enjoy it, but they realize after 2 or 3 years that they're more interested in the front office. And because they've developed an expertise in a back office division which works closely with the front office, like trade clearing or operations in the middle or back office, or risk in the middle office, they've spent 2 or 3 years there. Someone in front office leaves to go to a different company, or someone gets fired, then there's a seat open in the front office. Naturally, the strongest candidates are individuals from the middle and the back office. So it's playing the long game, it's being patient, but in essence, if you're patient and you play the long game and you can bear back office and middle office for 2 or 3 years, and then opportunities I guarantee you, they will come up, because people always leave, people always get fired. Then at the right point, at the right time, you just apply to front office, and then you try and make that move. Now, don't rush. The thing with students nowadays is they put a lot of pressure on themselves. If they don't get the insight week, the internship, or the grad scheme after they graduate, they think it's the end of the world. Careers are long. Your career, you're going to be working for 40 to 45 years of your life. That is a bloody long time. So make sure, take it easy. Obviously, don't get lazy, don't get complacent, but try and be tactical. Don't stress too much. Play the long game. Always take a step back and view things with a long-term view. Have perspective. Your uni is only 2 to 3 to 4 years. Career is 40 to 45. So once you're at uni, try and plant the right seeds. If you can't get front office, go for back office. Get your foot in. Do 2 or 3 years in back office, and then see if you can move into front office. The last thing you want is not to have anything, any experience, any opportunities in your pocket. So be strategic with your time. And finally, I want to leave you with a bonus reason, and that is, be honest with yourself. Know what you're good at, know your skill set, and persevere. You're going to be hit with so many failures, so many rejection emails that you open and it says, unfortunately, blah blah blah. Rejections are normal, completely fine. I used to get so many rejections. That's completely part of the process, so don't be too hard on yourselves if you do get rejection emails. But I would say, look, I've mentioned this example before. If you give me a dart and I throw it at a board, I'm not going to hit bullseye. If you give me 100, I'm going to hit bullseye guaranteed at least once. Success is a numbers game. Success with insight weeks, internships, grad schemes is also a numbers game. You just got to adjust, pivot accordingly, and be strategic in your application. So be honest with yourself as well. Ask yourself, or ask your friends and family, what am I good at? Am I good with people? Am I more technical? Will I be better on the trading floor, or will I be better going out and meeting clients? Do I think I can work for extremely long hours, or do I want to do a 9 to 5 and then leave the office and get on with my side hustle, side project, or my life in general? You need to be honest with yourself. See what area suits you best. See what's most interesting to you. Go and meet lots of people and just persevere. Keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And then before you know it, you'll have offers on your table. And the tricky decision will be signing contract A or signing contract B. Hopefully that will be your situation. Before I wrap up, I want to say thank you for reaching the end of the video. It means a lot. If you haven't already, do consider subscribing to the channel, and please share this video or leave a thumbs up so more students and young people can see this content, because it's something I'm super passionate about, and I think a lot of this information can help a lot of not just university students but pre-university students. So do share with any friends, any siblings accordingly. As usual, if you've got any suggestions or questions or comments, leave them below. Any feedback, leave them below, and I'll try and get back to all of them before I upload the next video. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. Peace.